Carlson from the TV show Grounded for Life. On this episode of NASA Connect, you'll be introduced to the importance of good nutrition and exercise. You'll observe researchers and scientists using math, science, and technology to learn what we can learn in space about our bodies here on Earth. In your classroom, you'll do a cool hands-on activity to estimate serving sizes of different foods and estimate your average daily energy needs. And using the instructional technology activity, you'll develop an exercise program for Norbert and Zot. So stay tuned as Jennifer Pulley takes you on another exciting episode of NASA Connect. Better health from space to Earth.
Ready, we got 5, last 4, make sure you're breathing, 3, 2 more, 2, come on, you can do it, last 1, there we go. All right guys, let's grab some water, rehydrate, take 5. Hi, I'm Jennifer Pulley, and welcome to NASA Connect, the show that connects you to math, science, technology, and NASA. In addition to being your host, I'm also a certified aerobics instructor.
Hey Jennifer, that was a great workout, but I never knew I had so many stomach muscles.
We do.
I hope it helps me in my training.
Oh, what are you training for?
I want to try out for my cross-country team, and tryouts are in a couple of weeks.
RJ, that is super. How's your training going?
Well, I guess it's okay, but I really don't have too much energy during the day.
Well, have you researched what nutrients your body needs? Because then you have to estimate and measure portions to make sure that the nutrients are in there. And of course, you have to have an exercise program.
Measuring and estimating my nutritional needs. An exercise program? Not really. I think I'm eating okay. Do I look overweight?
No, not at all. Tell me, what did you eat for breakfast?
I had a soda and a glazed honey bun. It's better than nothing.
RJ, a soda and a glazed honey bun that's loaded with sugar.
Yeah, the sugar provides me with energy.
Yeah, but that energy doesn't last throughout the whole day, and that's why you get tired. You need something more substantial for breakfast. You know what I think? I think that we need to reevaluate and improve your nutrition and exercise program. And that way we can get you in tip-top shape for the cross-country tryouts.
Okay.
Guys, on today's program, we will stress the importance of good nutrition and exercise, especially in the adolescent years. And that means you. We will visit with NASA researchers to tell us what we can learn in space about our bodies here on Earth. And I will offer you a challenge at the end of the program. But before we talk more about nutrition and exercise and visit with NASA researchers, we must first understand the mathematical concepts for today's program, which are estimation and measurement. During the course of the program, you will be asked to answer several inquiry-based questions. After the questions appear on the screen, your teacher will pause the program to allow you time to answer and discuss the questions. This is your time to explore and become critical thinkers. Students working in groups, take a few minutes to answer the following questions. Number 1, what does it mean to measure and estimate? 2, are both math concepts related to each other? Explain. 3, give some examples of things that you measure and estimate every day. Now compare your answers to all 3 questions with other groups in your class. It is now time to pause the tape. You know, guys, the math concepts of measurement and estimation are an essential part of our daily lives. Let's think about things that you measure on a daily basis. Well, you measure time with watches, weight with scales, and temperature with thermometers. You may think of such measurements as exact, but the accuracy of a measurement depends on the precision of the tool. In this sense, measurements can be thought of as estimations. Now let's think about things you estimate on a daily basis, like the length of time it takes to get ready in the morning, or how long you need to walk to the bus stop, or how much cereal you pour into the bowl. Estimation is a powerful mathematical idea that can be used both to solve problems and to check to see if our results are reasonable. You know, in reality, things aren't always exact, and good estimation skills are really important for living successfully. For example, Norbert here wants to see if the Galactic Fitness 9000 treadmill will fit in his spare bedroom. The dimensions for the base of the treadmill are 1.8 meters by 0.9 meters. Norbert's calculator indicates that the base area of the treadmill is 16.2 square meters. Now, does the base area of 16.2 square meters for a treadmill seem reasonable to you? 16.2 square meters is about the size of Norbert's bedroom. That would mean the Galactic Fitness 9000 is a pretty big treadmill. Unless you tear down a wall, good luck trying to squeeze the treadmill through the door opening. Actually, Norbert forgot to enter the decimal point in 1.8 on his calculator. But using mental math, Norbert's estimate suggested that the area of the treadmill should be about 2 meters by 1 meter, or 2 square meters. The actual base area of the treadmill is 1.62 square meters. In this case, Norbert used the estimation technique of rounding. Developing methods to check the reasonableness of results is vital to anyone working with numbers, especially engineers, scientists, and researchers. So now do you have a good idea about the concepts of measurement and estimation? You know, this would be a good time to pause the tape and review your answers to the 3 questions I asked you earlier. I just want to make sure you're on the right track. So, how do you apply these math concepts of estimation and measurement to nutrition and exercise? Well, to answer this question, we must first learn what good nutrition is and the benefits of regular exercise. Good nutrition is critical throughout life, but is most important for kids. While the body is growing, good nutrition helps to ensure optimal health. Every cell, every organ, and every system in the body relies on good nutrition. How many times have you fallen asleep in class after lunch? What do you typically eat for lunch? French fries? Greasy pizza? Donuts? Regular soda? Or even glazed honey buns? If you establish good nutritional habits at a young age, it will help lead to continuing these habits as adults. And remember, guys, the key to anything you eat is to eat in moderation. That means you don't eat an entire bag of chips while watching TV. And exercise is an integral part of effective weight maintenance and weight loss. Exercise helps to control your weight by using excess calories that otherwise would be stored as fat. Regulation of body weight is dependent on the number of calories you eat and use each day. Balancing the calories you use through physical activity with calories you eat will help you achieve your desired weight.
Now I'm starting to understand the importance of nutrition and exercise. In order to stay healthy throughout my life, I have to start maintaining a good level of nutrition and exercise now.
RJ, I am so proud of you. You're on the right track, buddy. And did you know that NASA has an interest in nutrition and exercise? That's right. Astronauts living on the International Space Station undergo changes in their body that can affect the way they function in space and when they return to Earth. Think about this question. What can we learn in space about our bodies here on Earth? Also, how do we apply the math concepts of measurement and estimation to nutrition and exercise? Good form, RJ. Okay, well, I help RJ with his exercise and nutrition program. Let's go visit Dr. Scott Smith, a nutritionist at NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Keep going, RJ.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, my name is Scott Smith. I'm the lead for NASA's Nutritional Biochemistry Laboratory. Jennifer provided you some great background information on the importance of good nutrition. Based on the information she provided, can you come up with a definition for nutrition? What is your daily nutritional need for calcium? How are you meeting that need? In your groups, take a few minutes to answer the questions. Your teacher can now pause the tape so you can collaborate with your peers. Nutrition is the study of how the body uses nutrients, like calories, vitamins, and minerals, and how much of each of those nutrients the body needs. While good nutrition is important for everybody, NASA scientists at the Nutritional Biochemistry Laboratory look at how astronauts' nutrient needs are affected by spaceflight. One area that is very important is the role of nutrition in keeping bones healthy. Not eating foods that include nutrients such as calcium and vitamin D can result in weak bones. You can find good sources of calcium and vitamin D in dairy products such as milk and cheeses, broccoli, and spinach. Calcium is probably the most important nutrient when it comes to building strong bones. More than 99% of the calcium in your body is stored in bones, and when you don't get enough calcium in your diet, it comes out of bones to help the other tissues. If you do that long enough, what happens is the bones become weak and brittle and can lead to diseases such as osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a disease where the bones become fragile and break. The best way to counteract or prevent getting osteoporosis is to eat well and exercise when you are young. So why are we concerned about bone loss during spaceflight? Astronauts actually lose bone mass during spaceflight. This is especially significant for long missions, such as the astronauts that serve on the International Space Station or on future missions to other planets. When astronauts return from long missions, they have an increased risk of fractures and other health problems because they lose bone mass and calcium. Do you have any idea why this occurs? Does that mean they get osteoporosis while they're in space? The human body gets used to operating in Earth's gravity field. When humans are removed from this environment, as when they travel in space, many complex changes take place. While living and working in a microgravity environment, your body senses that it doesn't need as much bone mass to support the body, so bone mass decreases. When you return to Earth's gravity environment, your body senses it needs more bone mass to support the body, so bone mass will begin to increase. Because it takes a long time to regain the lost bone, this is the period when you have a higher risk of bone fractures because your body's skeleton has a tougher time supporting your body against Earth's gravity. Here at NASA, we conduct research to understand how much calcium is being deposited into bones and how much calcium is being taken out of bones. This research involves mathematics, especially measurement and estimation skills. For example, let's take a look at the following system diagram. Suppose Norbert was to consume 1,000 milligrams of calcium, which is the daily recommended allowance, in the form of a large glass of milk. This diagram shows the path that calcium and other nutrients follow as they enter Norbert's body from the mouth. The milk enters the stomach and is broken down in the stomach and small intestine by chemical processes. Approximately 80% of the calcium, or 800 milligrams, leaves the body as solid waste. The remaining 20%, or 200 milligrams of calcium, enters your bloodstream. The calcium will help many of your body functions and, importantly, will prevent calcium from being taken out of bones. This is what happens when you don't need enough calcium. About 5%, or 50 milligrams of the remaining calcium, enters your kidneys and is released as liquid waste. Some of the calcium will be taken up into bone, and some will also be released by bone back into the bloodstream. Finally, a small percentage of calcium flows from the bloodstream into the large intestine and out as solid waste. To estimate how much calcium bones are absorbing and how much calcium is being taken out of bones, we can give Norbert a tiny amount of a special form of calcium. For this case, let's call it blue calcium. Over time, usually 10 to 14 days, we collect biological samples of solid waste, liquid waste, and blood. We can determine how much calcium, regular or blue, is in each sample. By mathematically analyzing the data, we can actually estimate the amount of calcium absorbed by the intestines, how much calcium is filtered by the kidneys, how much calcium is being deposited into bone, and how much calcium is being taken out of bone. By studying the flow of calcium before, during, and after spaceflight, we can tell how the body is changing during flight and what is happening to the calcium. From our estimates, we can conclude that the amount of calcium that is deposited in a bone and the amount of calcium released by the bone back into the blood is about the same. This changes when astronauts are in space. The amount of calcium absorbed by the bone is less than the amount of calcium released by the bone. Finally, when astronauts return to Earth and recover over time, the amount of calcium deposited into bone and the amount of calcium released by bone stabilizes and returns to pre-flight levels. Understanding the specific means of how bone and calcium use change during flight can help us figure out how to counteract it and also help prevent bone disorders on Earth, such as osteoporosis. Are you beginning to understand the importance of nutrition and how nutrition can be important for your health? Have you changed any of the answers to the questions I asked earlier? Now would be a great time to stop the tape and review your answers.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, guys, it's time for you to become a scientist and apply your estimation and measurement skills with this program's hands-on activity. It was developed by the National Space Biomedical Research Institute. Hey, let's check in on the students at the New Mexico School for the Deaf in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
NASA Connect asked us to show you this program's hands-on activities. The first activity is called serving sizes. Here are the main objectives for the first activity.
Students, you will estimate serving sizes of different foods and compare their estimates to serving size information provided on Nutrition Facts food labels.
Good morning, class. Food labels and other guides often use serving sizes to describe a recommended single portion of food or drink. NASA Connect asked us to investigate the question, what is a serving size?
Your teacher will provide you with the Nutrition Facts labels from these food items: 1 bag of frozen peas, 1 box of dry breakfast cereal, 1 bag of popped popcorn, and a 2-liter bottle of soft drink. Copies of the labels are to be distributed to groups. You are to determine appropriate serving sizes for the different foods. Write the word estimate onto 3 paper plates and onto 1 cup. Mark the other 3 paper plates and cup as food label. On the student handout, write the name of each food under the food name column. For each food, estimate how many cups or fractions of cups make up 1 serving size. Record your estimate in the second column of the table and measure the portions into the estimate plates and cup. Next, measure onto the food label plate and cup the serving size for each food based on the nutrition facts label. You are then to write a short paragraph answering the activity's discussion questions. If you have access to personal digital assistants or PDAs, the PDA is a great device for keeping a journal. You can use the infrared capabilities to peer edit journal entries with others.
Later in the show, our students at the New Mexico School for the Deaf will show you the second activity called Your Energy Needs. Back to you, Jennifer.
Now let's focus our attention on exercise. You know, exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. Dr. Don Hagen, the exercise lead in the Human Adaptations and Countermeasures Office at NASA Johnson Space Center, can tell us more.
Hello, Jennifer is correct. Good nutrition and exercise are interconnected. My job as the exercise lead in the Human Adaptation and Countermeasures Office here at the Johnson Space Center is to work with a team of specialists to determine the exercise requirements for astronauts in long-duration spaceflight. A long-duration spaceflight can be anywhere from months on the International Space Station to years if we ever travel to other planets. Before I continue, let's take a look at the following questions. Why is it important for astronauts to exercise in space? Do astronauts have to be elite athletes to endure a long-duration spaceflight? Explain. What are some of the ways you measure your level of fitness? Students, as your teacher pauses the program, take a few minutes to answer and discuss the questions with your class. When astronauts work in the International Space Station, they are working in a microgravity environment. They appear to be floating in the ISS. The apparent weightless environment places a reduced load on the leg and back muscles. Astronauts hardly use their leg muscles in space. The lack of muscle activity can cause the muscles to weaken or reduce in size. We call this muscle atrophy. It is possible astronauts on long missions may lose up to 25% of their muscle mass while working in space. The loss of muscle mass and strength during these missions could pose dramatic problems when they return to Earth. Muscles support the bones in your body, and if you have a combination of weak muscles and weak bones, can you imagine the harmful effects your body could face? To prevent muscle atrophy, astronauts must be in good physical condition while here on Earth or working in space. Do astronauts need to be elite athletes? There are no physical requirements to be astronauts other than you have to be healthy and pass a physical examination. Astronauts perform physical conditioning on a regular basis as part of their training. This also applies to them when they are working in space. The NASA team is responsible for pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight exercise performance testing for all astronauts. We want to make sure astronauts are in good shape before they go into space, lose the least amount of muscle mass while in space, and rehabilitate their whole body when they return from space. We can conduct research to measure the muscle performance of astronauts by simulating an apparent weightlessness environment here on Earth. Any ideas on how we can do that? Exposure to spaceflight is very similar to prolonged bed rest. Remember, a cause of muscle atrophy in space is lack of muscular activity. That's why bed rest is a good model, because it minimizes activity, and like astronauts, you lose muscle mass primarily in the legs. During prolonged bed rest, the body gradually degrades and loses muscle mass, bone mass, and endurance capacity. Let's look at an example of how we measure muscle performance. Suppose we use Norbert as our test subject and want to measure his exercise power output during pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight. In pre-flight, we would first have Norbert use a resistive device to measure his leg power. As you can see in the animation, Norbert's legs are pretty strong. He was able to lift 100 kilograms 10 times. Next, we simulate in-flight testing by putting Norbert in bed for an extended period of time, say 20 days. During that period, Norbert conducts all his activities in bed except for using the restroom. On day 20, we measure his leg power again while in bed using the same resistive device and see that Norbert can only lift 75 kilograms 10 times. What percentage decrease in leg power did Norbert lose over the 20 days? If you say 25%, then you're right. After 20 days, Norbert is removed from the bed and the rehabilitation process begins to rebuild his leg muscles. This is considered post-flight. He undergoes an exercise program that will allow him to regain the strength he lost in his legs. I'm sure glad he purchased that Galactic Fitness 9000 treadmill. In reality, the recovery process is different for most astronauts. It takes about 30 days for muscle strength and exercise capacity to return to normal. But bone density may take 6 months to a year to return to normal. The research we conduct in space and here on Earth may one day benefit many populations, such as the elderly or people who have had major operations and are subjected to extended bed rest. The important thing for you is that exercise and good nutrition help to build strong muscles, bones, and endurance capacity, and that both are needed throughout your life in order to optimize your health and thus prolong your life. Well, Jennifer, back to you. And by the way, how's your friend's exercise and nutrition program coming along?
Well, I think RJ really understands the importance of good nutrition and exercise and that they go hand in hand to maintain good health overall. At the beginning of the program, do you remember RJ saying that his energy level was pretty low? Well, energy fuels growth, movement, and all the processes in every cell inside the human body. You know, now is a good time to go back and visit our friends at the New Mexico School for the Deaf to see how they're coming along on their second activity, Your Energy Needs, and how it applies to RJ's workouts. In this activity, you will estimate your average daily energy needs.
We measure energy in calories. To help RJ figure out his energy needs, you have to calculate his baseline calorie need, also called basal metabolic rate, or BMR. BMR is estimated based on gender, age, height, and weight.
You will work from the baseline energy needs handout and the total energy needs handout, which can be found in the Educator's Guide. The BMR value for men, well, in this case RJ, can be calculated using the following equation, where W is the weight in kilograms, H is the height in centimeters, and A is RJ's age. The BMR equation for women is different than men, but it's also based on weight, height, and age. By substituting RJ's weight, height, and age into the BMR equation, the students estimated RJ's BMR value to be 1,645. This is his baseline energy need. Now, if we factor in his exercise level, the baseline value needs to be adjusted. Because RJ is trying out for the cross-country team, his exercise level should be high, meaning he is using a lot of energy. From the total energy needs handout, we can adjust RJ's BMR value by multiplying 1,645 and 1.9. The exercise level adjustments are found in the handout. It looks like the total estimated energy needs for RJ is 3,125 calories per day.
Good luck to you, RJ.
Good job. RJ is certainly on his way to improving his exercise program, and now it's your turn to develop an exercise program for Norbert and Zot. The students at Princess Anne Middle School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, will show you this program's web activity. There are 2 parts to the web activity. In the first part, called the Exercise Project, Norbert and Zot are on their Galactic Fitness 9000 treadmills. Their doctor and trainer have asked them to exercise 60 minutes a day and maintain an average heart rate of 100 beats per minute. Their doctor has divided their 60 minutes into 6 10-minute periods with a constant heart rate during each period. Your first job is to pick heart rate targets for each segment to make their average come to 100 beats per minute. Then you become the trainer and pick a good exercise plan for them and estimate their average heart rate for your plan. In the second part of the web activity, called the Heart Plot Project, you need to measure and record data on your own heart rate. Plot your data using the Squeak Heart Plotter. By analyzing the data on your plots, you will see how your heart rate changes as you exercise. Now it's your turn to take the Nutrition and Exercise Challenge, brought to you by the National Space Biomedical Research Institute. Working in groups, you will choose one of 7 specialty menu cards. Select from a person with hypertension, a strict vegetarian, a pregnant woman, a person who is lactose intolerant, a diabetic, an athlete in training, or an astronaut in space. You will plan a menu for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks that meets the particular dietary needs described on the specialty menu card. You will also create an exercise program for the specialty menu card you choose. The instructions and materials can be downloaded from the NASA Connect website. Then, submit your nutrition plan and exercise program to the NASA Connect website. There's a good chance that your plan and program will be seen by millions of students across the country. Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of NASA Connect. We'd like to thank everyone who helped make this program possible. And you know, RJ, he's doing fantastic with his fitness and nutrition program, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that he makes the cross-country team. As for us at NASA, we hope that you will consider how to improve and maintain your good health. Got a comment, question, or suggestion? Well, then email them to connect@lark.nasa.gov or pick up a pen and mail them to NASA Connect, NASA Langley Center for Distance Learning, NASA Langley Research Center, Mail Stop 400, Hampton, Virginia 23681. So until next time, stay connected to math, science, technology, and NASA. Here's to your health. See you then.
If you were an astronaut experimenting out among the stars, conducting research weightlessly, could you improve our life on Earth from Mars? Do you think beyond the Earth's protective atmosphere you could find a better way to care for people here? Maybe up in orbit, many cures can be found. We can help our friends and neighbors get their feet back on the ground. We are on a mission, a nutritional race.
Captioning funded by the NAC Foundation of America.